Warhammer 40k Gladius, the relics of war. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. Warhammer 40k Gladius, Relics of War brings you a world of terror and violence. Sounds like Antifa. 4 factions will engage in a brutal war of dominance over the planet's resources. In the first 4X turn-based strategy game set in Warhammer 40k, you will lead one of 4 unique factions. Yes guys, we have another turn-based Warhammer 40k game, but do not flee because this one is pretty tasty. Now you do need a slight neck beard and you do need your girlfriend to have possibly blue hair, but I think you could get away with her having kind of purple hair. Might not need the full blue, and you certainly don't need the green and blue hair. That you just in a Marvel t-shirt. You don't. It's not that deep, although it's pretty. It's averagely deep. But I managed no problem at all, and I'm as thick as a whale omelette. So you know, yeah, Blackadder. Anyway, let's talk about what you actually do in this game. First of all, you have to choose your faction, your allegiance. There's the Space Marines, there's the Orcs, the Necrons, and the Astra Militarium. 4 totally different factions with totally different units and totally different perks. And I don't mean you have perks as in a perk. There's no perks as in perks. But they play differently. For example, the Space Marines can only have one main city, whereas other factions can build cities in different places. The Necrons can only build them on greens of weird shit. So each faction plays different. It's not just all the same game with different uniforms on. It's really deep with the factions and the weaponry, for example. The research are all different. The guns is different. The way you play the factions are completely different. So you're getting 4 factions here that play totally different. Now, I must say that I was given a very early copy of the game by Slytherin. And I only had access to play as the Space Marines. Now, that's only one of the 4 factions. And I've played it for 19 hours now. And I freaking love it. It's worth a buy even if you only had the Space Marines. I've got another 3 factions to play yet. And I haven't even tried multiplayer. That's how pretty damn good this game is. I actually love it. And I'll tell you why I love it. I love it because it's not massively deep on the diplomacy side of things. It does have diplomacy in the game. Obviously it has diplomacy in the game. You can decide whether you're going to shoot them or blow them up. That's the level of diplomacy in this game, which is the kind of diplomacy I actually like. So when you select who you're going to be, you can decide how many players they're going to be, what teams they're going to be in, and you get a shit ton of customization of the map, because the map is procedurally generated all the time, and you can just decide how many rivers, how many mountains, how much of this razor wire shit that there is in there, how many relics, and all the rest of it. So you can kind of customize the game quite well. When you start the game, you have a couple of units, just the basic units, and the first thing you've got to do is get your city placed down. Now, when you're placing your city, it's very important to take notice of the resources. You have there's 4 different types, I think, of resources in this. I can't remember what they're called. I just know the icons. There's like ones like an energy, electricity. You have like a blue square. I mean, you know, if you want a professional review, you're not going to get it from me. So we've got resource A, B, C, and D. Now, when you place in your city, you'll see how much of them resources are around that place, because you have to expand your city. And if you expand into a tile, because the map's marked with tiles, if you expand into a tile that has a certain amount of resource there, let's say energy, and you build an energy station there, you get a boost to your energy output from that station. So it's in your interest to make sure that you place your city where there's plenty of resources around, so you can get that extra boost as you build your buildings. Pretty much all the buildings, apart from the basic ones, have to be researched from a huge research tree. It's a massive tech tree with different tech levels, and you have to research 2 of each tier to get to the next tier. So for example, you can't research anything in tier 2 till you've researched 2 things from tier 1. And in these tiers you will find everything. You'll find all your good units. You'll find, as a Space Marine, you'll find your Terminators, all your tanks, your Vindicators, your Predators. You'll find your your aircraft. You'll find also your hangars, your armories to create these things. You'll find your drop ships in there. You'll find boosts to all the different types of weaponry in the game. So there's a shit ton of stuff that you'll want to research. And this all takes research points, and research points is one of the resources that's in the game, along with energy and stuff and just, yeah. All of them are equally as important. Now, on the map as well, you will find special tiles that might be a factory where you can get buffs from. It might be an old ancient relic that gives your team extra buffs as well. Or it just might be an old ruin that just has some decent resources there. And again, these are very, very important that you capture these, and as Space Marines you can deploy this kind of fortress near them to kind of guard them against enemy attacks. You can also upgrade your fortress as you can upgrade your home city as well with different types of weaponry. Another good thing that I like about this game is combat experience. As you fight with your units, they get experience and they level up and they get tougher and bigger. So you have got to look after your units. Preservation is key when you're playing this game. Pulling people out of battles is key. You don't want to lose units willy-nilly. You've got to try and get them out of there. You can get them pulled back, get them repaired, get them back up to full strength by healing, and then you can send them back in bigger and stronger to fight another day. You get a whole load of 40k units here, and the animations look really good. The sound effects is great as well. I love the sound of the game. It adds to that immersion. The only real downer for me is the map. It's not the way that it looks so much, it's just the colour palettes. It's sometimes really hard to spot enemy units, and I've been ambushed a few times from an enemy that was actually visible, but I just couldn't tell the difference between the colour of that unit and the rocks it was standing on, which I guess some people might like that. Me, I would like them a bit more coloured in, if you like. Speaking of which, I would have liked to have customised my units like you can in a lot of 40k games in the colour palettes, but you can't do that, which is a bit of a shame, but that's just a minor niggle. Something that really surprised me about playing this game is that each faction has a campaign, an ongoing campaign that takes you through the actual game. So as much as the games are set up as skirmishes, you still have a campaign. Now you can win by either annihilating everybody or finishing your campaign, and your campaign will give you quest after quest after quest after quest, which will lead you into enemy territory and bring in some other enemies that aren't part of the actual enemies that you're fighting on the map. It's just enemies will come in through the story and you'll have to fight off waves at your base. It is terrifically fun doing the campaigns, plus you can get a lot of resources by completing the campaign missions, which helps you whichever way you want to go, whether you're going to just annihilate everybody or just complete the campaign. So it adds a whole nother dimension to be playing along with as you're doing all your strategy to defeat the enemies that's on the map. So you have kind of two strategies going at the same time, which is terrific. It's just a fun game to play. They've actually got it right this time with the turn-based games. I have liked other turn-based games from the 40k universe, but this one is the best. This is the best turn-based 40k game that I've ever played, so it's definitely worth a buy. I can't wait to play the other factions. I'm looking forward to playing this co-op as well, and I'm probably going to stream it because it's a terrific game and it's definitely worth a buy. See, I did all that without mentioning that Donald Trump's in my country. See, I don't talk about politics.